Okay, got it. I am live. Got it. Make sure I press. Give me one. No, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, and I got one poll question to put up. Okay. Good morning. It is me, Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, and about 18 minutes ago, something is in my throat, so I apologize ahead of time for clearing my throat throughout this live. That is not something that I like doing. It impacts communication, and I understand that. But we got two choices: me not be on live or me be live doing this. Today is my 518th day live. Let me see what's happening. Okay, cool. Oh, so then I could actually see me live. That's awesome. All right, had to just push the button. So good morning again. Something is in the air here in Las Vegas, and so I may be clearing my throat throughout the live. And that's that. Today we will be talking about Be Fair. That is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Gather your note-taking materials, as this is a learning live. Do it physically or virtually, whatever way works best for you to be able to learn and inculcate this information into your life. That word is for you, Kevin, if you are here this morning. Okay, I learned that from Colonel Klubeck way back in the mid-90s. Yes, when I was in college at ROTC. The second thing is you're going to need a second device, and that device will be for you to go to the website, turnarounddoctor.com, so that you can follow along with the principles of real leadership. Additionally, we will be looking at videos on the YouTube channel as well, and so you will need to be able to do that, or you will have to go in and out on the device that you are currently using. With that being said, okay, good morning, Sabrina. You can always watch the replay, and I will be responding to your messages after the live. I had some other things to take care of this morning prior to the live. Okay, so on your own, inhale and exhale 3 times. Take 3 cleansing breaths, and then we're going to get this party started. All right, so how did we get here? Neurogenesis creates new neurons. Neuroplasticity creates neural pathways, new neural pathways. And when you combine that with personal accountability, which is the 74 principles of real leadership, you end up with neuropability, and that's your brain's ability to wire itself to create the neural pathways for the 74 principles of real leadership, and also creating unlimited neural pathways for daily personal accountability. Finally, we're going to be using the executive function of the brain, which can be classified as the CEO of the brain. It's running things, it's telling the rest of the brain what to do. So without further ado, let's do this. And I understand that this is backwards on my shirt, but it still says let's do it. So what I've been doing, in addition to explaining all of the 74 principles of real leadership, I have been defining each individual word so that you can get a full, complete meaning and understanding of the 74 principles of real leadership. Today is Be Fair. If you go to the website, theturnarounddoctor.com, you go to the 74 principles of real leadership, and scroll down to the authentic section. That's theturnarounddoctor.com, 74 principles of real leadership. Scroll down to the authentic section. We are on number 8, Be Fair. Now, the word be means this: to take place objectively. To take place objectively. And then fair means impartial and just, without favoritism or discrimination. Impartial or just, without favoritism or discrimination. So in order to be fair, it takes place objectively, where you are impartial or just, without favoritism or discrimination. If you have not done so, go ahead and answer the poll question, and we will be revealing the results here before I go into the cognitive activity. Okay. So be fair. It's real simple. It takes place objectively, and you're impartial and you're just, without favoritism or discrimination. That's it. So simple. Sounds simple on paper. And then you put people into that equation, and it is no longer possible. So, why is it difficult to be fair? Why is it so challenging for people to be fair? And the number one answer, ding, 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 as we are on Real Leader Family Feud, it is unaccountability. Unaccountable people. Unaccountable people make it difficult to be fair. I have an older sibling who is 3 years, 2 months, and 2 days older than myself. And if you ever got us back in the same room, no, there would not be a physical altercation because I am too old to go do 72-hour hold in Clark County. But what would happen is my mother divorced my father when I was little. So from about 5 to 14, we were in the house with just my mother. Then after she gets out of drug rehab, she brings her perverted husband into the home. and then we had him there. So for that amount of time, about 8 years, my sister and I were there with just her. And we would both say that you are being unfair. You are treating the other one better. We both feel that way. And we both are correct. Because during my mother's sober years, she was fairer to me. And during her addict years, she was fairer to my sister because they are addicts. And so when she was sober, she resonated with the sober child. And when she was in her addiction, she resonated with the addict child. So it's an interesting concept. She will say that she was fair to everybody. And when I look back at it, she is correct. She basically treated everybody the same. She came first, and then there was everybody else. On any given day, if she felt like talking to you, you could get her attention with the grandchildren and everything else. And if she didn't, then you didn't get the attention. It just felt like it was unfair. But the only person that it was actually fair to was her. After that, you get what you get. So unaccountable people make it difficult for people to be on the receiving end of fair, and they make it difficult to be fair. Now, why is that? Because they're unaccountable. That's the answer. Because they are unaccountable and they live in a hijacked amygdala state, and negativity bias, the isms, and all of the biases and everything else make it so it's not fair. In their world, it's set up to not be fair. Superiority complex, inferiority complex, confirmation bias, conformity bias. Oh, you don't want to be on our side? You don't want to get jumped into our gang? Then we're going to treat you bad because you don't want to be a part of us. You don't want to come over for the family, all of the family activities, then you getting iced out. Okay, cool. Got it. So what happens? Unaccountable people wake up, negativity bias shows up, and every day somebody feels like it's unfair. And people say, oh, but the rich, they have it so much better. And the rich people are like, we pay too damn much in taxes. It's just too much. The government is raking us over the coals. So they feel like it's unfair. And people that are impoverished like, it's not fair. We can't get out of this situation. Every time we try to get ahead, it's one step forward and 2 steps back. Then you talk to the middle class. We're funding everything. Our tax dollars are going everywhere else. And we just work. We don't have anything to show for it. Goes on. The teachers are like, these badass kids. The students are like, these teachers can't teach. The administrators are like, these teachers are terrible. The teachers are like, the administrators are terrible. And it goes on and on and on. And nobody feels like it's fair. My daughter and I have over 2,100 appointments, and we have gone everywhere. We have experienced everything from the richest of the rich to the brokest of the broke and all points in between. And what I will say is the one thing that is fair, and we found out when COVID came, that we's all equal. We is all equal. Life. Ain't nobody getting out alive. Don't matter if you get, like my dad, you get buried in a $10,000 casket. You get cremated and you're in an urn. If you're in prison and you just get a pine box, none of us ain't getting out of here alive. It's not going to happen. And cancer, mental illness is people with billions of dollars that got ADHD and people in the hood. Got it. So we are actually equal. We is, okay? Cut us open, we all gonna bleed. Do like this with a knife. Ain't nobody like, I am superhuman. I don't bleed. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And that is the problem, that we are actually all equal. But unaccountable people made it so we don't feel like it's equal and it's not fair. Why? Because superiority complex and inferiority complex. I got to feel good, so you got to feel bad. Why? Why you just can't feel why you just can't feel good? Why is that the equation? Well, I gotta be better than somebody. Why? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why do I have to feel bad, be lower, be in this caste system? You highborn. No, you're not. What's your last name? What school you go to? What side of town you live on? What you do for a living? All these things designed by unaccountable people. So it's not there. It's not there. It isn't. It's all this competition because of hijacked amygdalas and all these biases that were created so there can be somebody that feels less than. I looked it up the other day, well, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, because Nola and I drive around so much, and I had to explain to her when she first started. I said when we were in the lower income areas, and the homeless people are there, unhoused, however you want to classify them. And I explained to her that there, because the elected official signs will be up. And I said, there is an elected official in theory that lives in this area, and they are responsible for this area because we go from trees and paved streets to ain't an tree, ain't a gate, ain't a nowhere. Is more of a police presence in certain areas than not. And I explained that this is an elected official's job. And when they run, they live in the district in which they run, at the city level, at the council level, at the commissioner level, at the state level. And obviously, if you have the U.S. level for the elected officials. And this is who they supposed to be representing. Yeah. So how is that possible? How is that possible? Why is poverty necessary? And I researched it the other day, about 3 weeks ago, somewhere around there. I researched it before, and then I re-researched it again. And the research that came up for me was this. The reason why poverty is necessary is because the wealthy people believe that there needs to be poverty so that the work can get done. And if there isn't poverty, then that work won't get done. So who will clean? Who will clean the streets and drive the buses and drive cars and prepare food and do all of these inferior, dirty hand, clean money tasks? Who will serve them? And that is why it is necessary still for them to this day. So that's why we got to have all these poverty programs. Why? Why can't the work be the work? And for the life of me, and I am studying neuroscientists, and the person, neurologist, and the person that was saying something on a video the other day literally said that there is one neurosurgeon for every 100,000 people in the world. One neurosurgeon for every 100,000 people. Now, neurosurgeons don't make millions and millions of dollars, but they save lives. They spend 187,000 hours studying every neuron, every nerve, and everything in the brain. And they don't make $1 million, $2 million, $30 million. But you know who does? Professional athletes. Doesn't appear to be fair. Someone is saving someone's life. Someone else is running up and down a court or a field. Why? Because of unaccountability. Because unaccountable people want the system to be lopsided. Want the system to be lopsided. There has to be poor people. There has to be working class people because we need to feel superior to other people. And that's why it's not fair. That is why it's not fair. Now, get out of all that level and come back to your day-to-day life. The other reason why it's not fair is this, and how people measure fairness. Good morning, Lola. Fairness, when it works to your advantage, is fair because you feel like you're being rewarded. You get a bonus and you feel like, okay, cool, I'm being rewarded. You get a pay raise, you get to get a scholarship. It was fair. Now, you don't get a bonus, you don't get a scholarship, you don't get a promotion, and now you're saying it was unfair. Why? Because when it feels fair and you're being rewarded, got a dopamine boost. And when it feels unfair, now you feel like your amygdala is hijacked. Today, when I was doing my research, I did my due diligence, and the researchers don't even agree on all of the parts of the brain that are being used in fairness and unfairness. Now, what they do agree upon is that it is happening in two areas of the brain, the frontal lobe and the temporal lobe, which is where the limbic system is located, where you have your amygdala, your hippocampus, and your hypothalamus. That is the emotion center from the brain. So here's what's taking place. If you have a hijacked amygdala, you are going to be rating fairness in an emotional way. And if you operate in your frontal lobe, you are going to be rating fairness in the executive function of your brain, which is the inhibition. It's 3 areas. So you have working memory, cognitive flexibility, and inhibition control. Inhibition control is where you stop yourself from saying and doing dumb shit. Okay. If you ever say, man, and then you go, no, I'm not. Inhibition control, shut that shit down because you were in the frontal lobe. If, however, you say, yeah, I'm about to slap the shit out of you, and you do, the amygdala took over, all logic and reason is gone, and now someone has your handprint on their face. So that's no bueno. So when you stay in your frontal lobe, you are going to be fair. You're going to be fair because you are using logic, reasoning, decision making, that CEO, that executive function is going to be functioning. And when you live in an emotional state, you wearing your limbic system out, you are emotionalizing, everything is about your feelings, you are going to be measuring fairness based upon how you feel. How you feel. And I even had an employee, Adam Barr. I said, you complain all the time. I said, if I gave all of y'all $1 million, you'd be sitting here complaining, talking about capital gains taxes. It's only going to end up with about $660,000. When you ain't got $660,000, you make $15.50 an hour. You would still have something to say about it not being fair. If I gave everybody on the team $1 million, you say, but I work harder than them, so I should have more money than them. No, fair is fair. Everybody on the team, you all worked at the same time, $1 million for everybody. That's not fair because he lived in a hijacked amygdala state. So that is the issue. So when fair is unwelcomed, people say it's not fair. And when it is welcomed, it's fair. But if you are in your limbic system, it ain't never going to feel fair until you get your nice little dopamine boost. And then you're going to be happy. But if you don't get your dopamine boost, first thing you say is that's not fair. That is not fair. One thing about personal accountability is it's fair. Everybody pays the same amount for a challenge. It is not based on income. It is not income based. That's $30. You could be sitting on commas after commas. It's $30. You can have $70 in the bank and it's $30 for everybody. For everybody. Miss a day, miss the time, everybody starts over because it is fair. Now, the consequences of fairness. That's what people don't like, but that's fair. So people say fair when it's unfair. Well, that's not fair. But fair is fair. When I was in the military, if you failed 2 PT tests, you got chaptered out of the Army. Bye. Because you going to get somebody killed. Point blank, period. If you were in basic training and you couldn't complete basic rifle marksmanship, you could not be an MP. If you were being a 95 Charlie and you couldn't shoot the shotgun, you got reclassified to a different MOS. Those are the rules. When I got in the Army as a female, if I couldn't do 1 push-up, break the plane, and get back, they keep you at reception until you can do 1 push-up for women and 13 push-ups for men. Don't know what it is now, but that's what you needed. That was the barrier to entry. So it's like, it's not fair. It ain't want to let me go to basic training. You can't do 1 push-up. How you gonna be a soldier? You need some upper body strength. So that's how it works. So that is why it's so difficult for people to be fair, is because they sitting in a hijacked amygdala, no inhibition control, nothing else. Everything is emotionalized, and they're doing it for dopamine boost. That's the problem. So when you look at somebody and you say, oh, this is not fair, this is not fair, you got to check yourself and say, hold up, wait a minute. Is it not fair, or am I sitting in the amygdala state? Am I wearing my limbic system out? Am I emotionalized? And am I in my temporal lobe? I'm in my feelings measuring fairness. Because in order to measure it, you got to go to the frontal lobe. You got to go where logic and reasoning resides to understand. You know that TikTok video, where the money reside, where the money reside. Okay, where the reason reside? In the frontal lobe. And then from there, you're measuring fairness. To go back, is it impartial and just without favoritism or discrimination? Because sometimes fair ain't fair. And you saying, well, I won, so it must be fair. No. When I was in the military, women could not go combat arms. I felt that it wasn't fair. I wanted to go mechanized infantry, and they was like, you got the wrong parts. What you can do is you can go combat support and take your ass over there to them MPs and that air defense artillery. You can secure the LZ while the infantry jump in, but you ain't jumping in. No, you're not. I know you look all cute with your camo, but you ain't doing that part. Now you can, but you couldn't back then. It's like, Back then, we still had to take our DA photos with our skirts on. Now everybody is in pinks and pants. But that was not the case back then. And I said it wasn't fair. When I was in high school, women couldn't play football. Now you got flag football. I went to the football coach. I was like, hey, coach, put me in. It's like, you can't play. You got the wrong parts. Why? I'm better than them. Half the team suck. You need me. I'm strong. I'm a PFC and Army Reserves. Put me in. No. But what he did do was he did a football camp for a week so the girls could understand more about football. So I have been on the side of fair. Fair. What is fair? Level the playing field and let's see who rises to the top. But there is always this disqualifier from the unaccountable people. Yeah, you can't cause what? Cause you short, cause you thin, cause you the wrong ethnicity, cause you was born on the wrong side of the tracks. Well, let's see. Let's see. Let's see if I was born on the wrong side of the track. Let's find out. Let's fuck around and find out what's fair. And that is the issue. So unaccountable people have induced fairness and unfairness, and they set the rules because it's more of them than the people who are personally accountable, and that's why it doesn't feel fair, because they neurologically are operating in the emotional part of the brain, the limbic system, which is located in the temporal lobe, and that's what's wrong with fairness. What questions do you have before I go to how to be fair? So we have discussed the definition of fair, as well as why is it difficult to be fair. And good morning, Lola, if I didn't say that. Come on, tablet. Okay, I'm about to say you at 100%. No questions. Kevin, you don't never have no questions for me. Every day. Am I just that good? Nola, you don't never have no questions either. No, you explained it. I got it. We simple. Okay. Yes, you are. I get it. I understand. A man, a few words. All right. You know, you don't say a lot, but you mean you're that good. Thank you, Lola. But you mean what you say. And you don't say it mean. Remember that back in the day? Okay. How to be fair. Does anyone know how to be fair? Anybody want to take a guess at how to be fair? I know, Nola knows we've been having her learn how to ask questions since the second grade. Definitely. Ask questions, although ask questions was made before. And Nola's answer is don't have a bias, be strategic and logical. How to be fair. I don't know if anyone else is typing. I will go ahead with my answer. And it is, you like Nola's answer. Yes, Kevin, got it. So yes, Nola, don't have biases, be strategic and logical. And you do that. All right, Sabrina, reflect on the situation, then set expectations, review them as the standard and use accordingly. Okay. The first area that you're going to do all of these things in order to be fair is the frontal lobe. So whatever you do, do it in the frontal lobe. Let the CEO, the executive function, guide your path. Let the frontal lobe be with you. Instead of the force be with you, may the frontal lobe be with you. That's number one. You stay in the frontal lobe, you're going to stay out of a bunch of stuff. And you're going to stay fair. You're going to be fair. Don't let your amygdala get hijacked. If your amygdala gets hijacked, stop. You trying to hijack my amygdala. As soon as you go, nope. Sit down. As we say in Al-Anon, sit on your hands and breathe and take your nice little neural pathway right back to your frontal lobe. Don't say nothing. because then you're going to be in inhibition control and you're not going to do or say anything that is unfair or unreasonable. And then from there, you will be strategic and you will review what you need to do and act accordingly. You can do that only in your frontal lobe. I have never seen or been in a hijacked amygdala state and done something that made sense. And then time. I ain't never said see, and that's why when I popped off, oh man, yes, that was the best decision I ever made. When I threw that water bottle, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Best decision ever. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. See, so when I got the bat and the tire iron, yeah. That was it. That was it. Bet you won't step on my shoes again. That's what I'm talking about. No, never worked. Never worked. Never ever. I'm in a crowd. You trying to? I'm never. Oh no, statute of limitations is over on that stuff. I will come be at a high school game, and you won't know how I was in the top rafters, and I got to the ground. Like, how the hell did she leap over people? How is she already in my face? Don't worry about that, okay? Never, ever made good decisions and hijacked the amygdala state. Never, ever. It was not fair for the people on the receiving end of that behavior. So you want to stay in your executive function and you want to be in control because you don't want to say or do something that you will regret. Now, how do you stay in the frontal lobe? You got to learn to hold yourself personally accountable. You actually have to wire your brain to the 74 principles of real leadership because otherwise you don't have a foundation and a structure to guide your day-to-day life. You don't actually have that. It isn't there. So it's easy to pop off when you don't have structure and foundation and systems. It's easy to not be fair. It really is. It is just that simple. So learning how to hold yourself personally accountable keeps you grounded and it keeps you anchored in a structured system for your day-to-day life. That is how you be fair. You have to stay in the frontal lobe. And when unfairness is happening to you, you still stay in your frontal lobe. When the football coach told me, no, girls can't play football, roger that. What else can we do? What can you do for us? Because I'm a great negotiator. So what can you do? A week later, football camp. And that was 1990. So at that point, he was old school. You know what I'm saying? He had a belly, that tracksuit with the stripes on the side. Green and white was our color. He outside in the back smoking a cigarette. Just think of somebody out during the white shadow time, but just throw him in 1990. So he was an old head back then. Maybe he's still, I don't know, he was overweight, he was smoking, so he might not be here with us no more. Anyway, the point is, this. Stay in your frontal lobe. When all else fails, go to the frontal lobe. And that is how you will be fair. And when people are not being fair, don't go to your amygdala. Be logical, be reasonable, and then handle that situation to the best of your ability. And when you've done all that you can, if the situation is still unfair, there is a great strategy that you can use, and it's called exit stage left. Get out of there. And yes, it may be, oh, Dr. Don, that's my job. I had to quit my job. I exited stage left in the military and I left Frito-Lay because it wasn't working. It wasn't working. There was fairness issues back, and there probably still is fairness issues. And so I'm not going to give my all to a situation that is unfair at any point. We can't get to fair. I won't be there. All right, what questions do you have about anything that we have reviewed so far? I'm going to reveal the poll question results, and you can explain your answer. So we had 7 people vote. 85% said yes, and 14% said no. So explain your answer. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to take some out because this is my ears too. Oh, why I try to look at my website without my glasses on? And as a reminder, you're explaining your answer to the poll question. Kevin, if you're fair to all, you will not have to justify your decisions or actions to anyone. Got it. One thing that I will say, unfortunately, is that women are asked to their fairness is questioned more. Their decision making with regards to fairness. Well, were you emotional? Were you on your period when you made that decision? That's the what happens when people say that. So you end up having to really justify. The reason why I say that is because I had to terminate 4 different people at Frito-Lay and went to arbitration 4 times. Didn't lose any of the arbitrations. Was victorious, but I had to have way more justification for what was clearly in the union contract and in the employee handbook every time. It's like, well, are you sure but did you do everything? So I have learned to definitely be very dot my I's and cross my T's because of the societal norm that says we can, oh, you're a woman. And right now I'm watching Catherine of Bridgerton on Netflix, and how it's, oh, you're just a woman. What do you know? You're just a woman. What do you know? And again, everybody's equal. That's what I say. You got fools in all categories. You got brilliant people in all categories. And there's really only 2 types of people: unaccountable people and people who hold themselves personally accountable. So some of the things that you just have to overcome because you were born. And so, for example, Kevin, I don't know if you experienced this, but my cousin experienced this. What you're just a dumb athlete. What do you know? Dumb athlete. Look at him over there. Is the oxygen, is it the same up there? So all types of things have been put in place to keep people in a hijacked amygdala state so that fairness isn't fair. And like I said, if I'm dressed all the way up, then I can't be smart too. How dare you be attractive and smart? You don't have to be smart. You're pretty. You're cute. Why would you read a book? Like the unfairness and fairness of it all. People say, oh my goodness, like Nola and my sister have acne, but they have their hair. So I got good skin and no hair, and they got acne and they got to keep their hair. It's fair. At the end of the day, we all have things that we have to contend with. And being fair, keep it logical. I say, here are the standards, expectations we agreed on, and here is where it was missed. Yep. And you do that. And when you're talking to people that are in their frontal lobe, all of that makes sense. And when you are not, it all seems unfair. But why? If you ever have tried to hold your children or younger siblings, nieces or nephews personally accountable because it's the right thing to do, you got kicked out of school, so here is the calibration for that. It's not fair. It's not fair. You were supposed to be home. You missed curfew. You're supposed to be home at midnight. You get home at 1, and now there's some consequences for your action. First thing out of a teenager's mouth is, it's not fair. It's not fair. But you don't understand. He was so cute. But I was trying to get that number, Dad. Yeah. Okay, but 12 o'clock is 12 o'clock. All right. I am fair because I apply the same effort at appointments and with athletes, and I apply the same effort at getting them recruited and developing their skills. I don't have much hair left these days. I know, but your whole head is still covered. It's still covered. So if it did come in, it would be a nice little Colin Kaepernick afro that you used to have, whereas I will have a half-fro. I would look like Homie the Clown. There we go. All right, or George Jefferson, because it wouldn't be colorful. Okay. Now we are going to go to the YouTube channel. So if you are on the website, go to social media and go to the YouTube channel. And Gophos, please. Yes, attacked often at work, and I watch how they move within our structure once they feel it's not fair. Yes, and again, all of that goes back to, so how you can look at this now, Sabrina, is, and Nola noticed this when one of the players, they lost, Duke lost, and so she noticed that from one of the players that at the end he was kind of, you could see it in his eyes that his amygdala had gotten hijacked. So what happens is, from a neurological perspective, you can understand that when people are being emotional, they are actually living in a hijacked amygdala state. And once you're there, all logic and reason goes away. So now when you see that taking place, you can go and say, oh, so they have a hijacked amygdala right now. So hijacked amygdala is fight, flight, freeze, or appease. Those are the four things that take place. And if they're coming to attack you, they chose fight. If they say, well, no, Sabrina, what is it? Can we do? Can we negotiate? Can you give me one more chance? They're trying to appease you. If they go, then they just freeze. Or if you tell them that and they run away, or they're trying, I got to go, I got a meeting, I got to go, then they're in a flight state. So those are the four reactions when someone's amygdala has been hijacked. So now you can stay in your executive function in the inhibition control of it and just go, okay, so but the facts are the facts, and here you are. And then as they continue to become more and more emotional, you say, obviously you need a minute. And one thing, when people are getting up anticked, then you can just lower your voice, speak softer, speak slower to calm everything down, because one of the principles of real leadership is to be a thermostat, not a thermometer. So don't take the temperature, set the temperature of the environment. But going forward, now you know they're in a hijacked amygdala state. And now you don't have to really pay attention to anything, because none of it is going to be logical or reasonable. And you just stay in the facts. And hopefully more people will learn how to become personally accountable, and these things will go away. And when it's fair, it's so much simpler. The one thing that I will say is that when you're dealing with people that are personally accountable, it's so calm, it's so rational, it's so peaceful. And then when you're dealing with unaccountable people, it just takes up so much more energy and effort. That's why the least amount of contact that you have with them, the better it is for you, because you don't have to stand guard at the door of your mind. You can just let your brain function as it was designed to do. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is a desktop, and it is, if you scroll down, so we're in desktop, press the down arrow and go to skill development. Skill development. And I don't believe, I didn't have it in my notes if we watched this one or not. So I believe that we are correct, because I flipped the playlist. Yeah. So I have on a purple shirt that says NOLA. It's actually from New Orleans. Okay. So skill development is 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Water. Yes, skill development. Yeah, so you got to click the arrow and go down. I got on a purple V-neck NOLA t-shirt. It's in the desktops. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Mm-mm-mm-mm. You need to always develop your skills and develop new skills. That is correct. And to continue on that path, Nola, what happens is, as I've mentioned before, that people get a skill that they know how to do and they kind of master it, or they get to the Chris Henry 70% level, and then that's it. And then that skill that they have doesn't improve because they didn't acquire any new skills. So for you, Nolan, we had this conversation yesterday. When you first started and you put that first IKEA mom bed, it took you 2.5 hours. And now, if I prep everything, you're done in 30 minutes. In addition to that, the reason why is because of the skills that you have developed over the last 4 years. What once seemed very difficult is extremely simple to you now. And that's the result of continuously garnering more and more skills. People have made money the motivator. And that's an interesting statement that you said that, Kevin. Um, Here's what I will say. I did have so yes, no, skills, new skills, refine the skills that you already have. I did have an interaction on Threads the other day again, because people keep saying the same question. Money buys you. If money can't, people say money can't buy you happiness. And I keep saying it can't. All it does is money solves money problems. And again, unaccountable people have made money the thing that separates everybody. It is, and the Bible says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. For the Christian Bible, you can have a belief that is independent of mine. I'm cool with that. Money is a medium of exchange, and we've had this conversation. And people, unaccountable people, have made money emotional. It is just the system that we use to barter. You have something, I need it, I give you some money, you give me something in return. That's how simple it's supposed to be. It really is. And I had the $5 in my wallet, and I showed y'all for the water, depending on where you get the water from. It depends on if that water is going to be more or less, depending on where I'm at when I purchase that bottle of water. So yes, money is a motivator for some people. And again, the magic power of emotional appeal, that if that is your fatal four, then that will motivate you. But if that's not your fatal four, then it won't motivate you, and then you will be considered lazy and trifling, and why don't you want to go get this bread, get this money, get this, and it's really absurd. And the Bible says be a steward over the money anyway. And what happens is people are not stewards over the money. People do their version of the work, get the money, and then they go and do dumb things with the money. They're not a steward over it. They don't create economic developments. They have 22 cars, and they have 17 houses, and they have all these things, but they had to get that money from other people, use people to create something, and then sell it, and then they become niggardly with the money. That's why I'm no longer focused on being 3, Dr. Donna, or 2, Dr. Donna, because it would stop me from doing what I actually came here to do, which is to teach you the 74 principles of real leadership and neuropability. So when you use money as a carrot and you dangle it in front of people, people sometimes will do anything to anybody to get it, which is wrong. And then once they have it, then they find out, is this it? Yeah, pretty much. Let me go buy some more stuff. Okay, cool. Let me go buy some more stuff. Okay, cool. And you're looking for fulfillment, but it's like pouring water. And if I had some water and the bottom of this coffee cup wasn't full, and you just keep pouring water, it's just going to keep coming out. The cup will never get full. And that's the con side of letting money be the motivator. So what happens is when you hold yourself personally accountable, you find fulfillment daily. You find fulfillment in looking up a word, doing a daily challenge, finding out who made the doorknob, having a conversation with a family member, helping an employee. Then you have this daily fulfillment that takes place, and now you can go to sleep well. To use a different example, and then we're going to go into the A and Q, just one today, is this. So we met Nola's barber 4 years ago, putting together bunk beds for his family. He became her barber. They've been going back and forth. They just moved into cutting her hair. They just moved into a new home. So we went back and mounted some televisions and hung some pictures, basically did the decor for the house. Now, while we were there a couple Saturdays ago, we did some things at his wife's business as well. So while we were there a couple weeks ago, she was on the phone with somebody that was her client, and the client was like, I need a place to stay. And she's like, we just don't have the room. Oh my God, I feel so terrible. I'm listening, ear hustling. I hear what's happening. We know people who have long-term Airbnb. So I say, check with Anthony. I check with the person. I usually don't try to get people's names. Check with him and see if he has any rooms available. He didn't, but one of his colleagues did. And then it was too much. So yesterday, Nola negotiated for the person to get the room, and because we referred them, the first month of the room is a discount. So that's what helping others is about. So if you look at how that went, we start with building bunk beds. That turns into business for her. Her barber, she looks good at appointments and she's groomed. Then that turns into his wife's business, needing things done at that business. Now the client of the person who needed a place to stay is his wife. Now she has a place to stay. One of our clients has room available at one of his Airbnbs, long-term Airbnbs, and now he has a tenant for a couple months. See how that worked? And that's all within our community, all within the Las Vegas, Henderson area. That's what it's all about. That's what living. That's when I say you hold everybody accountable. Everybody's standard is up to here. And now as a community, it all worked out. Nobody's trying to gank anybody and charge more. My daughter's barber isn't saying, yeah, well, this is going to be 75 this week. Next week, it might be 85 and all. Everything worked out. That's what personal accountability is about, is in your day to day. Moving into a new house, getting TVs mounted, getting the house set up, having a place to live, having your work environment be what you needed to be. And then we built the things at the house for the Airbnb, and now somebody is staying in that house. We built some of the things. Depending on which room that person is in, we built the bed and the desk in that room. So that's what actually happens. And that was fair to everybody. It was extremely fair for everybody. That's what we were designed to do. That's what it's all about in your day to day. You talking and communicating with each other and using our strengths to make our community a better place. All right. With that being said, we got one more A and Q, and it is, if you scroll down to the A and Q section, drop down menu, and it is just need somebody to, and this is a couple seconds. So just need somebody to is the A and Q for the day. Type in what you need, and then we will come around third and be finished. So my throat is not doing well. Air quality. I've heard two grown men say that in my entire life, and I still don't get them. My ex-husband, it came from my ex-husband. I mean, I just need somebody to believe in me, right? That's what I need. Believe in yourself is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. That's what it is. Me believing in you still ain't gonna have you believing in you. Don't make sense. It's a good line, especially if you're trying to. I'm out here trying. I'm out here trying. Okay, cool. Try harder. Roger that. All right, Kevin, what did you learn today? And then all after we see your answer, what did you learn today? That's some BS. They wasn't gonna do it anyway. Okay, what did you learn today? I'm gonna have to switch to T. Stay in the frontal lobe. Sabrina, I hope you're not driving. Learn people measure fairness by how they feel. Yes. Yeah, I knew you meant they. Well, here's what I learned today. Okay, got it. On you, Sabrina. So here's what I learned today. Nola and I both woke up and she said it has to be the air quality. So while you all were doing your thing, I looked up the air quality. It literally says poor. It's 57. It says the air has reached a high level of pollution and is unhealthy for sensitive groups. Reduce time spent outside if you are feeling symptoms such as difficulty breathing or throat irritation. It literally says that. So that is why my throat is, and it just happened as the sun was coming up. I was like, what in the hell is going on? I was fine. 2 hours, nothing. But this poor air quality. So stay in the house. If you are, I'm like, I'm in the house. Like, hey, how bad is it if I'm in the house and I'm feeling it? Stay inside. Stop messing with the air. This ain't fair. Okay. Next is, what did you learn about yourself today? What did you learn about yourself today? I learned that I can assess the air quality inside the house. Probably because I'm sitting by this big old window too. Guess I gotta put a mask on in the house. What did you learn about yourself today? I find it interesting that the second question takes a little bit longer to answer. While I'm waiting, the reason why I'm asking this question is because of self-reflection. We are not programmed to self-reflect. There isn't a neural pathway that happens where we just take the time and really check in with ourselves. That's why I say 15 minutes or more a day, you need to be checking in and reflecting on yourself. Additionally, you need to be waking up seeking to learn something and learn something about yourself. So learn something, and how does that information that I've just learned impact me? Or does it impact me? And what will happen is these two neural pathways will start getting stronger, and you're going to wake up saying, I need to learn something today, and I need to learn something about myself today. Because unaccountable people don't self-reflect. It's this. But when I asked you what you learned about yourself today, we're doing a bend the wrist without you actually having to do it yourself. So it's a non-evasive way of you creating those neural pathways. No, you said learned everything goes back to the brain and personal accountability. And I learned about myself that I am fair. Kevin, you said I learned today that I expect me from more from others. I expect me from others, and it has proven to be a waste of time and a waste of expectations. Oh, you expect more. I think more from others. It is a complete waste of time. Here's what I will say, Kevin, to you. The thing that I've learned to do, and you are a Southern gentleman that appears to have a big heart based upon when I watch your posts and everything, so we are a giving group of people. It must be because we were born in 1973. No, I'm just kidding. See how I'm trying to be unfair. Okay, anyway, 91. Okay, no. All right, anyway. Here's the point. This is how because we know I got like 30 days and 6. I probably got 33 days left before my birthday when I am 100% on complete personal accountability, shutting it down, and everything is coming up as a result of that. What I have found is that when people are not in a personally accountable program, I can't waste my time on them. If you are not holding yourself personally accountable, we don't speak the same language. If you do not use the 74 principles of real leadership, we don't have anything in common. And we're going to keep going back and forth with these very vague things that at a whim's notice, an unaccountable person will change their mind. They're like the kid with the basketball that don't like what's happening. They take their ball and go home. Or if you're playing a game on a playground, they keep changing the rules. So what happens is when everybody is in a personally accountable system, especially when Nola popped off the other night and we had a longer night, when it was all said and done, we're going back to the brain and Neuropability and personal accountability, 74 principles of real leadership. That's the foundation for adult life. If you don't have that, when someone says, I'm going to do something and they don't, in the land of Loserville, they don't have to. But over here, you got to keep your word. And you got to apologize when you're wrong. If you didn't keep your word, there is an apology coming, an explanation as to why you didn't keep your word. So that's what I found to be a lot simpler to do. Unaccountable people are going to be unaccountable. Do not expect them to do anything else but be unaccountable at some point throughout the day, every day, until they either become personally accountable or they're no longer here. The follow-up from yesterday is keep your word. What did you keep your word in doing yesterday? And don't waste the energy on them. Because again, unaccountable people need a host. And they want you to be around, especially if you're solving their problems. But as soon as you solve their problems, they're going to exit stage left. And they're not going to come back to you again until they have another problem. And you are not a professional problem solver. That's not why you were born. You caused it, you solve it. Kept my word with a client. Made sure that the pictures were on the wall that he wanted and spaced out correctly. Nola mounted them. I just said where they needed to go. I do not drill in walls. And your real leader principle for today is to be fair. Guess I'm going to be eating halls all day. And a friendly reminder, if you are typing, ... Yesterday, I promised the community that my store is located in that I was going to pass out free ice cream. And I did, and they wore me out. And as you mentioned before, now you know that's why McDonald's like, yeah, the machine is broke. The machine is broke. The machine is broke. I kept my word for not doing appointments with mounting TVs outside of mounting a 70 and a 98 inch because it's outside of my mounting range. I can mount up to 75 in the app, but I said no more than 65 and I stuck to it. That is correct. And I don't know why someone needs a 98 inch television. The wall got to be huge. Yeah, but we want no parts of that. We did have the honor and privilege of mounting a television above a bed where the room was too small, so Nola had to stand on the bed with about a 2-inch clearance, but about 3-inch clearance from the bed to the wall. So I do have a picture of her doing that because that was we get some obstacles in that, but by far the most obstacle-induced TV mounting ever. Okay, so today the real leader principle is to be fair, be fair, be fair, be fair. And as long as you stay in your frontal lobe, guess what you're going to be able to do? Be fair, and hold everybody to those standards of excellence, and you will find that the unaccountables will magically disappear. Okay. If I don't have anything else for you all, my throat is on fire. Thank you, air poor quality. So I'm gonna go get some tea and eat this Halls because I got work to do, and I'm already in the house. They recommended being in the house, and somehow it's seeped in. So I'm going to have to seek first aid to get through the rest of the day. You all go off and have a sensational Sunday. I will be back, God willing, higher power in the universe, tomorrow, same time, same place, same face, different t-shirt. Y'all take care. Adios.